Merhabalar. Bir hafta aradan sonra yeniden karşınızdayız. Her hafta olduğu gibi ülkenin ifade özgürlüğü gündemini takip ederek kayıt altına almaya çalıştık. Maalesef programımız yine hak ihlalleri, yasaklar ve davalarla dolu. Cumhurbaşkanı Erdoğan ise gollere devam mesajı veriyor.
Penaltı atışlarının fotoğraflarını sosyal medyadan "durmak yok, gollere devam" mesajıyla paylaştı.
President Erdogan continued his insults against the opposition this week as well. According to Erdogan, every criticism from the opposition is an attack, and they have been attacking the country to divide it since the Crusades.
Çünkü CHP sadece lafını ettiği, istismarını yaptığı demokrasinin D'sinden bile nasibini almamış süzme faşist bir partidir. Bunun sorumlusu Erdoğan'dır diyor. Ne yüzsüzsün sen ya? Ne karaktersizsin ya? Bunların cibiliyeti bozuk. Şöyle bir ayağa kalkalım bakalım. Tek millet.
Tek millet,
Tek bayrak.
tek bayrak,
Tek vatan.
tek vatan,
Tek devlet.
tek devlet.
Erdoğan mecliste milletvekillerini karşısına dizip and içtirirken Gare operasyonunu sorgulayan muhalefet hedefte.
People's Democratic Party Kocaeli Parliament member Ömer Faruk Gergerlioğlu has been sentenced to 2 years and 6 months of imprisonment by Kocaeli Second Assize Court due to making illegal organization propaganda through a social media post he made in 2016. The sentence against Gergerlioğlu was approved by the Court of Cassation. Constantly targeted by the ruling power, Gergerlioğlu stated, "Since the beginning of my parliament membership, I was not afraid of anything. I advocated for human rights. I guess someone was disturbed by us pointing out the naked searches, kidnappings and torture."
Bizim kararımız alelacele bir şekilde incelendi, hızlandırıldı. Bunun nedeni apaçık bir şekilde benim kaçırılan insanları gündeme getirmem, işkenceleri gündeme getirmem, çıplak aramayı gündeme getirmem, bütün bunlar iktidarı inanılmaz bir derecede rahatsız etti.
Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office started an investigation against People's Democratic Party parliament member Dilan Dirayet Taşdemir due to armed terrorist organization membership after Interior Minister Soylu had targeted her by calling her the parliament member who went to Gari.
After Taşdemir, Soylu went on to targeting People's Democratic Party co-chair Pervin Buldan, calling the People's Democratic Party a terrorist organization party. However, the photos Soylu was talking about belonged to the time of the resolution process conducted by the People's Democratic Party and the ruling power together between the years 2013 and 2015.
As Erdogan mentioned in the group meeting and said there will be a quick voting in the parliament, Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office prepared parliamentary summaries against 9 People's Democratic Party HDP members, including People's Democratic Party co-chair Pervin Buldan, within the Kobani investigation. 33 new summaries arrived in the parliament, 29 of which were against People's Democratic Party members.
Investigations were started against the People's Democratic Party Aru parliament member Berdan Öztürk due to his press statement in Van on January 8th, as well as against People's Democratic Party Van parliament members Sezai Temelli, Muazzez Orhan Işık, Tayyip Temel and Murat Sarısaç due to their social media posts.
Biz bugün de yarın da kayyum atamaya devam edeceğiz.
Erdogan signaled that operations against municipalities will continue. In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party HDP prepared a report with the title "The Stolen Will of People and Facts on Trustees." According to the report, trustees were appointed at 48 People's Democratic Party municipalities since August 2019, and 72 co-mayors were detained. 37 co-mayors were arrested and 15 still remain in prison. 807 municipal assembly members are no longer able to perform in their positions. Trustees have effectively shut down the municipal assembly, which used to be the decision body of the local administration.
Erdoğan'a göre muhalefet ekonomi yönetimiyle ilgili gündeme getirdiği sorularla da kendisine ve ailesine saldırıyor.
After the main opposition party, the Republican People's Party asked questions on central bank reserves and said, "Where and to whom did $128 billion went? How did our foreign exchange reserve decrease to minus $47 billion? Why did Berat Albayrak resign?" and Erdogan claimed that they were attacking his family. With the answer of Erdogan, it was admitted for the first time from the most authorized mouth of the government that the central bank reserves were indeed sold. Even though Erdogan based the sale on the pandemic, the reserve sale happened long before the pandemic at the end of March 2019.
CHP ve şürekasının Hazine ve Maliye eski bakanımız Berat Albayrak'ı ve onun nezdinde tüm ailemle birlikte şahsımı hedef alan bir kampanya yürütüyor. Önce bu kampanyayı görmezden geldi. Ancak ailemize saldırı boyutuna varınca ağızlarının payını vermekte üzerimize vacip oldu.
Erdoğan, vaat ettiği hukuk reformu kapsamında hazırlanan insan hakları eylem planını 2 Mart'ta duyuracağını açıkladı. Bakalım daha bu sefer hangi fareyi doğuracak? Biz haftanın diğer öne çıkan ifade özgürlüğü gelişmeleriyle devam edelim. Boğaziçi protestoları kesintisiz bir şekilde sürüyor. Öğrencilere yönelik operasyonlara yargı ve polisten sonra rektörler de dahil oldu. İçişleri Bakanı eylemleri hedef alan açıklamalarına akademisyen ve öğrencilerden sonra onların ailelerini de dahil etti.
Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu continued to target Boğaziçi University students participating in the protest. This week, he continued to target the students and their families, as well as businessman Osman Kavala, who is kept in Silivri prison for 1,210 days now, Professor Ayşe Buğra, and former Boğaziçi University rector Professor Üstün Ergüder.
Soylu stated on television that he called former Boğaziçi University rector Professor Üstün Ergüder and told him not to get into business like that, referring to the protests against the appointed rector. Soylu further stated that Ergüder told him that he is 80 years old and that he isn't involved in business like that, and that he replied to him with the words, "No, I know you're involved in business like that as a matter of fact." This is the peak of immorality.
An indictment was prepared against 7 university students, including 2 students previously arrested due to the Kaaba visual depicted on the exhibition organized during the protests at Boğaziçi University due to public incitement towards resentment and hostility. The students face imprisonment sentence for up to 3 years each.
University students Doğukan Gürbey and Cihan Çiçek were sentenced to house imprisonment after having been detained with a house raid due to insulting the president and public incitement towards resentment and hostility through copying the letter of Şilan Delipalta and distributing leaflets. Delipalta had also been arrested due to protests at Boğaziçi University.
Justice and Development Party member Melih Bulu, who was appointed as rector to Boğaziçi University by President Erdogan himself, opened a disciplinary investigation against 51 students who were detained in the evening of February 2nd as they were protesting in front of the rectorate building.
9 Eylül University penalized 35 students who participated in solidarity protests for Boğaziçi University with a week of suspension. 9 Eylül University Rector Nükhet Hotar was the Justice and Development Party AKP deputy chair for 14 years.
The Human Rights Foundation of Turkey announced numbers on the rights violations happening during the protests at Boğaziçi University. At least 801 people were detained with torture and mistreatment in 38 provinces. At least 13 people were injured. 11 people were arrested in protests, 228 people faced judicial measures, and 29 people were sentenced to house imprisonment. 2 people were arrested due to their social media posts. 6 journalists were injured during the protests. The Human Rights Foundation of Turkey indicated that rights violations happening in different categories throughout the protests reveal how distant the country is from the idea of a rights-based regime, saying, criminalizing demands is denying the rights of citizens.
People's Democratic Party HDP Kocaeli Parliament member Ömer Faruk Gergerlioğlu presented a parliamentary question on the application against Boğaziçi University students at police stations. Gergerlioğlu asked about the reverse handcuffs against 17 students, broken down doors of student houses, naked search applications against 2 detained students, as well as the allegations of sexual threats against 1 student. The question, however, was sent back by the parliamentary spokesman Mustafa Şentop. According to Şentop, the parts on torture allegations in this question are rude and hurtful.
Yani işkence değil, işkenceyi görenlerin anlattıkları kaba ve yaralayıcıymış. Hak örgütlerine göre sıradan ve sistematik bir hale gelen işkence olgusu karşısında iktidardan gelen açıklamalarsa aklın alabileceği sınırların çok ötesinde.
Bir kadını çıplak arayacaksın, dakikasına bundan rahatsızlığını beyan eder. Onurlu kadın, ahlaklı kadın bir sene beklemez.
Bugün geldiğimiz noktada da şunu yapıyorlar. Bu insanlar talimatla artık bebek sahibi oluyorlar.
Cezaevinden resim
hamile
verebilmek
kadınlar,
için. Evet.
bebekli kadınlar cezaevinde var demek için.
Salgın yasakları Erdoğan ve partisinin etkinliklerine dokunmamayı sürdürüyor. Etkinlikler bir tek Erdoğan'a serbest. Onun dışında her şey yasak.
People's Democratic Party co-chair Pervin Buldan faced police prevention in Van. Buldan and other People's Democratic Party members wanted to hold a press statement at Kapaköy border gate, and the police prevented their statement based on the bans due to the pandemic.
The Mardin government banned all protests and demonstrations across the province for 15 days. The government decree indicated that even cars from different provinces would not be allowed in Mardin. The government statement based on the ban on the hunger strikes in prisons as well as the protests at Boğaziçi University.
The exhibition Purple Hall, organized by Avcılar Women's Platform within the March 8th World Women's Day events, was prevented due to the ban issued by Istanbul Avcılar District Governorate based on the pandemic. The platform members were beaten by the police.
Posters prepared by the People's Democratic Party within the Justice for Everyone campaign were prevented by the Batman government. According to the government, the slogan "Equality for everyone, justice for everyone" is provocative, creates negative misconceptions about the legal system, and may lead to events such as illegal marches.
Gazetecilerin, hak savunucularının, muhaliflerin adliye mesaisi yine hız kesmedi. İşte bu haftanın öne çıkanlarından bizim derlediklerimiz.
Kurdish politician, lawyer and writer Mahmut Alanak was sentenced to 1 year and 6 months of imprisonment due to making illegal organization propaganda in the lawsuit he was on trial at Istanbul 22nd Assize Court due to his book that was banned and withdrawn from shelves.
The first hearing of the lawsuit filed against journalist Abdurrahman Gök was held at Diyarbakır 5th Assize Court due to illegal organization membership and making illegal organization propaganda. Through his phone calls, with news resources, social media posts, as well as the news he reported. The prosecution of the journalist will continue on June 3rd.
The first hearing of the lawsuit filed against the Confederation of European Alevi Unions founder and chairman Turgut Öker was held at Istanbul Anatolian 10th Criminal Court of First Instance due to his speech at the protest rally against President Erdogan organized in Karlsruhe, Germany in 2015. The prosecution of Öker, who's charged with insulting Erdogan, will continue on June 10th.
The Republican People's Party, CHP, Aydın Provincial Women's Organization Chair Ayşe Özdemir was convicted of insulting the president due to the last thesis protests on the violence against women. Aydın 8th Criminal Court of First Instance sentenced Özdemir to 11 months and 20 days of imprisonment.
27 people were prosecuted due to illegal organization membership and making illegal organization propaganda based on their participation in protests due to the hunger strike started by the Democratic Society Congress co-chair Leyla Güven in 2018, as well as their speeches on television channels on the hunger strikes. 8 of the 27 people were sentenced to 56 years of imprisonment in total. Kocaeli 2nd Assize Court sentenced arrested People's Democratic Party Assembly member Mehmet Yalçınkaya, Gebze District co-chair Ebubekir Çoban, party member Damla Bağcı, and Republican People's Party Municipal Assembly member Osman Kurum to 7 years and 6 months of imprisonment, as well as party members Mehmet Karaaslan and Kutbettin Güneşsu to 6 years, 10 months, and 15 days of imprisonment. People's Democratic Party provincial co-chair Leyla Aygün and Emine Karaaslan were also sentenced to 6 years and 3 months of imprisonment.
The first hearing of the lawsuit filed against journalist Hakkı Boltan was held at Diyarbakır 10th Assize Court due to illegal organization membership based on his Democratic Society Congress DTK delegation, 2 press statements he participated in, as well as a social media post he made. The court issued the acquittal of Boltan.
An investigation was started against Evrensel Daily reporter Özer Akdemir following the complaint of a mine company owner after Akdemir has reported the resistance of the villagers against the basalt mine operated between Karaburç and Karaburna villages of Hacı Bektaş district in Nevşehir. Akdemir is charged with insult due to sharing a video in which the mine company owner called the villagers ignorant people and tweeting, "This is the perspective of a late capitalist coming to the village with his Porsche car and calling the villagers ignorant."
11 people were detained in Istanbul, Bilecik and Afyonkarahisar due to their demands for the caliphate to be established once again, as well as due to shooting a video with the title 100 Years Without Caliphate. Enough now. The Association for Human Rights and Solidarity for the Oppressed, Mazlumlar, launched a press statement on the matter and indicated that it is clearly within freedom of expression to shoot the video without using methods of pressure and violence, not involving any kind of arms or attacks, as well as sharing in the social media. Demands for the caliphate that are within the freedom of expression and faith must not be prevented with detainments or criminal investigations, the association stated.
Democratic Society Congress Council member Jian Tash was sentenced to 6 years and 3 months of imprisonment with the allegation of illegal organization membership. In the lawsuit, he was on trial at Diyarbakir 10th Assize Court based on his activities within the Democratic Society Congress.
Freemuse, the international organization defending artistic freedom, has reported the violations against artistic freedom of expression around the world with a report, The State of Artistic Freedom 2021. The report analyzes 978 violations of artistic freedom in 89 countries that happened in the year 2020. According to the report, Turkish government authorities, who are responsible for 90% of all artistic freedom of expression violations in Turkey, continue to remain a big obstacle in front of the use of artistic freedom. More than half of the violations against artistic freedom of expression in Turkey, which were documented by Freemuse, are based on the anti-terror law and the crime of insulting the president.
Bir haftayı böylece ardımızda bırakırken Anadolu Edebiyatı'nın büyük ismi Yaşar Kemal'i sonsuzluğa uğurlamamız üzerinden de 6 yıl geçti. 1995 yılında Alman Der Spiegel dergisinde yayınlanan Yalanlar Seferi başlıklı makalesi nedeniyle Devlet Güvenlik Mahkemesi'nde yargılanması, girişimimizin doğmasına da vesile olan yazarımızı sevgi ve özlemle anıyoruz.
Bir yazar insan haklarını canını verecek kadar bağlı olmasa bu çağdaki insan haklarına, o yazar bile değil, insan bile olamaz.
Ülkelerin türkülerini yaratanlar kanunlarını yaratanlardan daha güçlüdür.